Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a breaking news video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in the midst of all the civil war action between Bowley and Egbali, we have had some breaking news in regards to Chelsea's stadium. Now, take it with a slight pinch of salt, it is Jacob Steinberg, reliability slightly questionable within the Chelsea community, but he has reported with an exclusive that Chelsea have held talks over the possibility of building a new stadium at Earls Court. Chelsea in talks over leaving Stamford Bridge and building new stadium at Earls Court. Now, before I dive into this, I do just want to say it could be ironic, it could just be a complete coincidence, but it's funny how, you know, we've had one of Bowley's main gripes has been how slow progress has been with in regards to a new stadium. That was in a big piece in The Athletic on Monday. Suddenly, the next day, we've got an exclusive that Chelsea are in talks over leaving Stamford Bridge for Earls Court. I don't know about you guys, but something might not be adding up there. Feels like we're getting a little brief out from Egbali's side potentially to counteract the brief from Bowley's side about him being frustrated by a lack of progress on the stadium. But make of that what you will. But let's dive into this article then, people. Let's see what Steinberg has got to say for himself. Chelsea have held talks over leaving Stamford Bridge and moving to Earls Court as they seek a resolution to their plans for a bigger stadium. Increasing the capacity from 42,000 is a major priority for the owners, and the difficulty of redeveloping Stamford Bridge has led to the club to look for a new site in West London. So the big news here is discussions have been held with TfL, Transport for London, one of the partners that looks after the Earls Court site. The Earls Court Development Committee wants to build a mixed-use development and no football stadium is included in its master plan, which is due to be presented next week to Hammersmith and Fulham Council and the Rural Borough of Kensington and Chelsea Council. The ECDC will be able to move ahead if it receives planning permission, and that would place a major obstacle in Chelsea's way. Key figures involved in planning in London believe the plans could be too expensive, and that could open the door for Chelsea because a multi-use football stadium would in those circumstances be attractive. There would be the potential to build affordable housing elsewhere on the site if Chelsea's plan is approved. Chelsea are understood to have drawn up plans for the site and have identified the Lily Bridge depot as the area on which to build. Jason Gannon, the Chelsea chief executive, has been leading discussions and has had productive talks with TfL and the real estate developers Delancey. Chelsea would need an agreement with Chelsea pitch owners, which holds the freehold of Stamford Bridge Stadium and could block any attempt to move. Chelsea have not ruled out staying at their current home, but there has been no progress in any plans to redevelop Stamford Bridge. The ground's proximity to a tube line makes a rebuild extremely challenging. Chelsea have considered a stand-by-stand rebuild. They could be forced to play at temporary home like Wembley for a number of years if they knock down Stamford Bridge. Chelsea made space for such a project after completing the purchase of the 1.2-acre site next to Stamford Bridge from Stoll. Chelsea would need to submit a bid for Earls Court, with a source saying a conservative estimate of its value would be about 500 million. The club's owners are committed to maximising revenues by building one of the biggest and best stadiums in the country. There would need to work with supporters given the emotional ties to Stamford Bridge. So obviously a bit of progress there potentially. Chelsea chief executive holding talks with Transport for London and the site developers. Now, obviously there's a long way to go before any of this comes to any sort of fruition. But you know, let's take it at face value. Let's take it at, you know, what it is, this report. And for me personally, being a match going fan, that doesn't make me any more important than any other fan. But in terms of match going, you know, in terms of the experience of going to the ground and whatnot, the Earls Court scenario is the best case scenario for all involved. It means that we don't have to go and play at Wembley for a number of years. We can continue to play at Stamford Bridge whilst the new stadium is being built. It also means that obviously the match day routine for supporters who have been going for many years does not change. You are getting the same tubes. You can go to the same pubs. You're going to the same location. Earls Court, Fulham Broadway, 10-minute walk. Earls Court from Stamford Bridge to Earls Court, one stop or whatever it is, couple stops on the tube. It doesn't change supporters' match days, which is a big plus. And the reality is, guys, as much as we're all massively attracted to Stamford Bridge, and you know, we feel a real affinity with the ground. We've seen all Chelsea's greatest success there over the last 20 years in terms of league titles and whatnot. The reality is that we are lagging behind. And in a time where we don't have Champions League football, we're missing out on that revenue. With Stamford Bridge being a 42,000 capacity stadium, we are 25,000 seats really below where we should be. You know, we aim to be competing with the top clubs in the league and winning the biggest prizes. Unfortunately, our stadium doesn't match up with our ambitions. As much as we like it, as much history as it's got, it doesn't match up with the ambitions we're looking to achieve. You know, City have got a better stadium, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Newcastle. You know, that's 6 teams just straight off the bat that have got better stadiums than us. And it's something that's needed to be addressed for a long time. And it's something that this new ownership are going to have to do. But it's something that sort of 3 years down the line, we don't really seem to, or just in the 3rd year of this ownership, we don't really seem to be any closer to getting any sort of progress on anything. So this today is a small bit of progress. Talks have been held, which is positive. Obviously, we need to put a bid in. I'm sure the money's not really going to be an issue there. It will be made more difficult if that multi-use site gets planning permission to be built. That's another hurdle to overcome. But I've just got a feeling that the fact that we've held talks with TfL, the fact that there's been talks with real estate developers, the fact that it's understood that we've drawn up plans for the site. It can be multi-use, very much like Tottenham Stadium. And I don't want to go on about fucking Tottenham, but do you know what I mean? In terms of you could hold concerts there, potentially more revenue, go-karting, whatever you want to do, whether we like it or not, that is what the ownership are going to be looking at. Multi-use, more revenue streams. We need as many revenue streams as we possibly can get because we don't know when we're going to be back in the Champions League. And as much money coming into the club from whatever sources it may be is only a good thing as far as I'm concerned. But in terms of Earls Court, how likely it's going to be, the reality of this actually happening, there's still a lot of hurdles to overcome. But I truly believe that this is the best option. Look, we love Stamford Bridge, but the idea of going to play at somewhere like Wembley for 4 or 5 years whilst the whole ground is completely rebuilt is not an appealing one. I don't think you would get many fans that would be on board with relocating to Wembley for 4 or 5 years while Stamford Bridge is rebuilt. The Earls Court situation, I mean, in terms of other ones, in terms of other possibilities of playing, Wembley, I mean, Craven Cottage was talked about. I mean, that's never going to happen, is it? A ground share. Twickenham was mentioned in the past. But again, they've never played anything other than rugby there. I don't see that being allowed at all. And so, yeah, for me, it's not worth it. Love Stamford Bridge, or have great memories of the place. Love going there. But I honestly feel that a rebuild and 4 or 5 years away from the ground is simply not worth it, in my opinion. And we do have to evolve with the time. There's only so much extra capacity you can bang on at Stamford Bridge if you redevelop it right now. Stand by stand, you could go down that route, although, again, how viable, how good an option actually is that? Earls Court just ticks every single box there is. It makes the most sense. Location's the same. You can do all your same pre-match routines. It doesn't change people's journeys at all. It's the only logical solution on this stadium front right now. It's the one which makes the most sense. It makes the most sense. But again, not always things that make sense get done by Chelsea. But I've got a feeling like I do trust these people that they could potentially get this deal done. But at the same time, like a lot of other things, this could get completely fucked up. We just don't know. We just don't know is the reality on that situation. But it makes sense, guys. It makes sense. It's what I would like. I think it's what a lot of Chelsea supporters would like as well. I mean, £500 million, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Committing the owners, we know they want to maximize revenues, and they would invest in a new stadium if it gives them an opportunity to make more money, which it absolutely would do that. But again, nothing's been ruled out. It's important that whilst these talks have reportedly taken place, staying at Stamford Bridge has not been ruled out, and neither as a stand-by-stand development or a temporary home. So everything's still on the table. This news doesn't change any of the other options off the table. So let's not get too carried away. But it's the first big update we've had in regards to the stadium for quite a long time. So yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let me know where you think Chelsea should play. Is Earls Court best, staying at Stamford Bridge, going elsewhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. As always, thanks for the support, love, and catch you lot again soon.